this thing started.
All right.
All right. Hello, and thank you for joining us on Halloween Eve here, night before Halloween. So spooky, I know.
Oh,
Yeah, we're getting real spooky tonight. I am here for the book troop live show for 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano, and I'm joined by two lovely booktube friends. I love when we all just like have the same exact boom.
it's like a cue. One
Yeah.
person lifts it up, we have to as well. It's
Right,
like
it's
you
just
cannot
how it
not lift
is.
it up.
Well, perfect. And I'm joined by my friends Alexis and Elizabeth this evening. Alexis, this is your first time, I think, on the book troop, which is so exciting.
So
Sorry, I think
exciting.
that's my phone. And then Elizabeth has been on the book troop at least, I think, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think maybe at least twice, maybe 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say Elizabeth has a book club too, so we like to do the like, co-hosting each other's things.
Swapping. Yes.
Yeah. But Alexis, since you're new, would you want to go first with like introducing yourself and maybe just telling us a little bit about your channel and like what you typically read and those things?
Yeah, of course. So, hi everyone. I'm Alexis. My channel is Alexis Fully Booked. I read everything. Horror is my absolute favorite, but really any genre. I do have a book club also, but it's a classics book club. So we read
Ooh.
4 classics a year. It's called the Quarterly Classics Book Club.
Oh, cute.
So kind of mix in all the genres. And yeah, I'm a big fan of readathons and vlogs, so you'll get a lot of that from me.
Yes, love it.
Okay. I'm Elizabeth. Hello. My channel is Reading Riley, and that's like Riley like a wry smile. I read thriller, horror, and feminist fiction. I have 2 corgis that are obnoxious, so apologies for that.
No worries.
They they are constantly trying to steal my limelight, I swear. But yeah, I love psychology. I love weird books. I love trying to figure out why people behave the way they do. I'm also like a true crime weirdo, so like all of that stuff, love it. And I also have my book club, the Midnight Society Book Club. So, and Gabby's actually going to be joining me next month to read the sequel for Bunny, which should be
Yes.
interesting.
I'm so excited, but also kind of terrified.
Honestly, like I haven't started it yet, but I know it's supposed to be more from like the bunny's perspective.
Uh-huh.
And I had like a come to Jesus moment where I was like, oh no, the bunnies are
Mhm.
actually really annoying. Like
Oh
this is
no.
gonna be like 400 pages of their perspective, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little scared. But
Yeah,
I can't wait to dissect it.
I know. I'm scared too because I've been hearing like not so great things, and I'm like, oh no. And then
No,
I'm like, the
I haven't
fact that
heard
it's like
anything yet.
so long, and the fact that it's like a prequel and a sequel, I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. But I'm
Yeah,
here
I don't
for it.
know.
I'm excited to read it though.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least you can expect that it's going to be super unhinged. So I'm
Yeah,
going to
for
have to
sure.
join you
yeah,
guys and watch that live show because I'm
yeah,
excited for it too.
yeah.
Absolutely. That'll be the end of November.
Yeah, nice. That'll be a fun time. But thank you so much to everybody for joining. Yes, and definitely do please follow Alexis and Elizabeth. Both of their channels are linked down below, so you can go and check them out. Show them all of the love. And today we are here to discuss 13 Months Haunted. I would love to know if you are here because you did read the book this month. Maybe you can put like, I don't know, like a black heart in the chat, just so I can get a visual for everybody who's, read the book. And then maybe if you have not yet read it, or maybe if you DNF'd it or something like that, maybe you can do like the CD emoji. I think that's a thing. um, because why not? And we could just get a visual on who's all here because they've read it. We will be, keeping this spoiler free at the beginning of this live show, so you can feel free to stick around if you just want to, hear the deets about what it's about, but not get spoiled. That's cool. And then, while everybody's doing that, would one of you feel comfortable pitching like a non-spoilery synopsis for people who might not know this book?
I can do it.
Yeah,
Unless
that'd be
you would
great.
like to, Alexis. I'm happy to.
You got it.
That would be
Okay.
great. Thank
I'm
you.
just going to kind of read from the synopsis though, because it will not be succinct. So we're following this librarian. Her name is Piper Lowry. And she's not really a librarian, she's a clerk, and she is the liaison for this like middle school in her area. And so she's like the connector between the kids. And
Mhm.
so she goes into class and talks to the kids at this middle school, and she meets Avery. And even though all of the other kids are obsessed with the latest Y2K tech like AOL and Napster and blogs, Avery won't touch a computer ever. And Piper kind of senses that something's off with her. Also, her mother comes to school with her every day, and she sits next to her in class, and she like never leaves her side. So it's really just concerning, like helicopter parent situation. Um, and Piper is seeing that she's beginning to become an outcast, and so she wants to befriend her and help her out. But let's see. There's also rumors that Avery's mom is a witch and that they used to live in a haunted house. But now she's learning that there is something dark inside of Avery and it is spreading. So it's like haunted house meets maybe possession type of thing set in the early 2000s. It's definitely giving that like Y2K energy, which personally I loved.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was such a good job.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it looks like we do have a good mix of like some people that haven't read it yet and some people that have. So thank you so much to everybody who took the time to read with us this month. So I guess we should just go ahead and jump into our ratings because I feel like I like to get that out of the way first thing because I feel like it's hard to even talk about the book without knowing how we all felt about it. So while we're doing that in the chat, if you want to let us know if you did read this book, let us know what you gave it out of 5 stars. I feel like this one was a very mixed bag from what I was seeing. It seems like a lot of people are either in two camps. It's like they either really like this book or they really hate it. So I'm really, really curious to see how both of you are going to feel about it. So Alexis, do you want to start with giving us your rating?
Yeah, of course. I actually gave it 5 stars. I really liked it. Hopefully I'm not like the odd one out here. But yeah, I thought it was like a pretty solid book. And then, like you said, I saw a lot of 2 stars going around. I was like, oh, maybe I read something differently than others. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Do you want to give maybe like a one sentence, like short, like not like brief, non-spoilery why it was a 5-star for you?
Yeah, so non-spoilery, I will get into more specifics when we get there, but it reminded me a lot of some of my favorite horror movies, sort of the same tropes. And I really liked the inclusion of technology in it. It was just unique.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Glad to hear it. Okay, Elizabeth, how did you feel?
So I actually had not seen any reviews of this. So the fact that you're saying like some people loved it, some people hated it, I'm really not surprised by that actually, because my rating's actually kind of right in the middle for 4 specific reasons. But I did give this a 3.5 star rating. I was kind of in between 3 stars and 3.5 stars, but the very ending bumped it up to 3.5 for me, which we can get into later.
Nice.
But yeah, generally the Y2K stuff, the pop culture, like that was my time. Okay, y'all. I'm a little bit older than y'all. I was the exact same age that Avery was in 2000. I was 13 in 2000. So all of the like references in here just really hit my heart pretty good. I was like, yes. Like everyone 35 and older, right? Like is like loving this.
Yeah.
So totally loved that. I thought it was a little bit kitschy at some points. The explanation in the ending didn't really super jive for me, but I had a pretty good time along the way. There were certain things that I really liked and certain things that were kind of so-so for me. So that's why I landed where I landed.
Nice. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad it like mostly really worked for all of us because I ended up giving this one like a 3.75, but like kind of leaning more towards 4 than 3.5. Like I really enjoyed this a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I actually read this entire book completely in the dark, so like it kind of added to like some of the spooky moments for me. Because I do think this book is kind of like hard to pitch because I feel like it's a mix of kind of like campy horror that feels a little bit silly at times, but then I've thought some parts were actually kind of creepy and weird, and that's why it was like that perfect mix for me. But I do see and I understand how a lot of people are saying this is not even scary, whatever. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could see that because it's not really like scary, but it's like that perfect mix of like campiness, but also kind of creepy for me. And I agree that like I loved the 2000s nostalgia. Oh my gosh, like that was one of my favorite things about it because it just reminded me of like when I was in elementary school and people would be like sending like email chains and like the spooky, like it was like that kind of a thing, and I loved that about this. And I think the only reason why I wasn't giving it the full 4 stars is because I also loved Dead 11 by this author, and I gave this one 4 stars, and I think I liked this one a little bit more, but like I don't know. But I guess that leads me to my next question: is that have you guys read this other book from him, and how did you feel about it, and like how does this one compare for you?
Yeah, so I actually had almost the opposite. I did
Oh,
read
really?
Dead 11, and I gave that one 3.5 stars. I
Oh,
liked
okay.
this one more.
Okay.
And so I really, really love the opening scene in Dead 11. That is probably one of my favorite scenes in a horror book ever. But
Hmm.
I feel like the middle and the end, the pacing was off. It was just very slow. I feel like, maybe if we had gotten rid of like 100 or so pages, I would have liked it more.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I don't feel like anything dragged. It was just like, I was just in it the whole time. I wasn't bored at any point. So I think for me, comparing it to Dead 11, that's
Hmm.
why I gave it a higher rating.
Nice.
Nice. I've not read Dead 11. So
Ooh.
this is my first soiree with this author, and I liked it. I probably would continue reading from him. I probably will read Dead 11, although it's going to be, I don't know. Like, I remember when the Dead 11 hype was happening, and I just, for whatever reason, missed the bandwagon. And, like, I really like how he writes, but, like, it's weird because Gabby, how you were saying that like it's kind of campy. I feel like it's kind of like it's kitsch, but it didn't go far enough to get camp. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
I
I feel like
totally get
if
it.
it had gone a little farther, it would have worked better.
It like didn't fully commit to the camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Um so I would read the other one as like just, as something that would be like a fun, fast-paced something to get like, beach read, summer read, something like that.
Yeah.
But I did
I do think
overall really enjoy it.
Yeah, I do think this one's like a good one to read in the summertime because this one has a lot of like island, vibes. And so like
Yeah.
Okay.
for that reason alone, I think it's good to read in the summer. But I feel like after reading both of these books, I do think this author has a tendency to be like a little wordy and like the books can be cut down just a little bit. Cause like I felt the same about both of these where I was like, does it need to be like this long? Like, like some scenes just felt like they could have been cut down.
Mhm.
But then I also think something this author does really well after reading both of these is kind of like the 90s nostalgia that I feel like are in both of these, because I feel like even Dead 11 too, like this one's mostly about this like town that like feels like it's kind of like almost like stuck in the year of 1994. Like all the people in the town are like really obsessed with the year of 1994 and it's kind of like weird in that way, but I feel like he really does the like 90s early 2000s nostalgia so well in both of these books. And so that's definitely something I do love about this author's writing and I think is not that common in most horror stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he definitely gets the time period really good. You can tell he grew up and
right.
So Dead 11 is set in the same era,
Kinda. It's not I don't think it's actually set in the 90s, but it
like a little earlier.
feels it no, it's actually set I think in like present day, I think, but it's because like the people of the town, it says everyone seems to be stuck in 1994. And so when they go to this island, it kind of seems like it's 1994, but it's not really. It's like they
Okay.
feel I don't know.
Okay.
it's
I can't
great not
explain.
to explain because it'll spoil stuff. But yeah, the
Right.
town
I
is
I can't say more, but it just feels like everybody's obsessed with the 1994 and they don't know why. So
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. But so one of my next questions, which we kind of just talked about, was like, how did you feel about the writing style and like, the 2000s atmosphere? Because I know I did see some people saying that like it was overkill, and people were like, the amount of pop culture references were ridiculous. Because like I literally made a note on my phone, and it was like Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, AOL, like Yahoo Mail, like literally like so many things.
A
Which
lot.
like, did you guys feel that way, or did you just mostly enjoy it? Because like I just thought it was fun. I was having a good time, and it for me like all the pop culture references really made it feel grounded in that time period for me. But how did you feel in general about like the pacing and the atmosphere?
Yeah, I get both sides of it. I did the same thing. I started making a note on a post-it note of every
Yeah.
reference. And like I filled it up and I was like, okay, I'm done now.
Yeah.
I get how people would feel like it was overkill because it was a lot, but it
Mhm.
added to the atmosphere and I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it, but of course, again, like that was my time, so like every little thing was like taking me back to a moment, So it was
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah.
But as far as like the pacing goes, I will say like I had a hard time getting into it at the very beginning. And
Mhm.
I listened and had the physical copy, which I'm really glad I did because the audiobook had really cool little things and the physical book had really cool little things that I would not want to have missed.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, like when I listened to the first like 3 chapters, maybe like 2 or 3 times before
Mhm.
I had to actually sit down with it physically and got interested in it. I think because it was like that separation from Anders to jumping back in, which I like how he did that. That was an interesting way to go into it because, you know, we're set in present day, but we're telling a story from 2000 or from late 90s to the 2000. So it gave him the ability to like reference back at the end. I thought that was kind of clever in the way that he did that. But it also took me longer to get into for that reason. And so I didn't think I was going to like it at first, but once I did get into it, the pacing just was pretty solid, pretty steady, I would say.
Yeah. Did you listen to the audio as well, Alexis, or did you just read it physically?
Yeah, I did both audio and I read. So I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to say I loved the audiobook. It had like the dial-up noises between chapters and stuff. That was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just like you said, Elizabeth, I liked the beginning, like setting it up where, you know, this guy is writing this thesis and kind of thinking about like how this is going to connect to the story. So I did like how it was done.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I also did listen to the audiobook, and I actually saw a lot of people that weren't liking this book. A lot of them said, "Well, try reading it without the audiobook, and it's so dull and boring." And I was like, "Oh, like, is that?" So I'm like, "Is that the case that like maybe people that are reading this more physically are not enjoying it, but then the audiobook people are enjoying it more?" Because I do think the audiobook was really engaging, and like for me personally, like I didn't really find any of this to be too slow or like too, you know, like I thought the pacing was good throughout. So maybe that was partially due to the audiobook just really keeping my attention the whole time, but I thought that was kind of a interesting thing I noticed.
But then you also got the like blog bits in physical that you wouldn't have known from audio, you know, that I thought was really cool to add in there too, because it's like separated on the page so it looks like an actual blog post. So I thought that like the mixed media, as well as you get Avery's diary entries, which I liked too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Kay was like, "No, I read physically and study before start, so my theory is incorrect." But I appreciate it. Okay, and then I think I want to jump into spoilers from this point on because one of the next question I want to ask, I kind of do want the opportunity to like kind of get into spoilers here. So if you have not yet read the book, this is where we'll part ways. Thank you so much for joining us for this part. But we will be talking about spoilers. So my next question was kind of like, how did you feel following from the perspective of Piper specifically, and like how did you feel about her as a character throughout the book? Like, was she somebody that you immediately kind of vibed with, or were you like, Piper, what the freak? I would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, so I liked her. I liked having this outside perspective looking in because I feel like other horror movies with this sort of trope, you're always following the person who is being haunted. So I liked having the mystery of like trying to figure it out, trying to help this girl. There were definitely moments where I was like, Piper, you are being so stupid. You know, we're in spoilers now. So the point later on in the book where she's like, okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm done with this. And then she changes her mind like for a second there. We almost, you know, she almost got away safe, but then we wouldn't have the story. So like I understand her choices, but definitely yelling at my book at how dumb she was being.
I was kind of similar as far as Piper. Like I did like her. She's a librarian. Like I love a library. Like hello. So yes, I do like Piper, and that was a really good point, Alexis, about it being like one step separated from the haunting. That's not a perspective that I had thought of, but or like a way to phrase it that I had thought of, but yeah, you're totally right. But I liked her perspective. I same was like saying like, what were you doing? So like at the end when we're in spoilers, right? So like when Piper, like when you get back to what's his name? Ansley? What?
Oh, Anders?
Yeah. So we get back to Anders' perspective, and he's like talking to her or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I just don't use a phone anymore. And like, this is just my life now. And then he finds it. I was like, there's got to be a way for her to like end it. You know, if she knew, she would have known that another copy still existed, right? So she could have just gone and found that, looked at the video, and then just waited a year and been done, not just like live the rest of her life without
That's true.
Without any technology. She didn't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Is that a plot hole that went over my head? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't like that at the end they switched it and they were like, "Oh, everybody else was done after a year, but she had it for her life." And I
Because
think
she
they
didn't look at it fully and
yeah, they
download
tried
it
to
fully.
explain it that the virus was evolving and getting stronger, but I don't know. I would have liked it better if she was just free after a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't think about that, to be honest. So, um, interesting. Yeah, I feel like for me, with Piper as a character, like I was really liking her at the start of this because like you said, I liked following the perspective of like the teacher of the student that's like being haunted or whatever, as opposed to like the student themselves. Like I do think that was very unique. But I also like I was kind of quickly getting frustrated with her because I feel like she was kind of being like naive in some situations where she like wouldn't connect the dots where I'm like, girl, like it's all right in front of you. And you're like, because like say when that first kid, like Shane, she like witnesses the kid dying or whatever. And then when they're like, oh my God, his computer was like smashed, like when he died. And she was like, why would he break his computer before he died? And I'm like, Piper, like, because then I'm like, Avery's saying, oh, I don't use my computer anymore after my dad died. And like, there's all these things with the computer. I'm like, girl, like, come on. Like, it's all right there in front of you. And she
It's
was
in the
just kind of being
computer.
like, yeah, like she was being kind of like, I don't know, naive. And I'm like, maybe that's too harsh because like, I don't know. But I was just like, girl, like, come on, like, put it together like faster. Because I'm like, if I'm putting it together, then you should be putting it together,
Yeah, you have a good point because I noticed early on when she was posting on her blog, one of the commenters literally kind of like revealed it. Like they ruined the surprise. They were like, what if the
Right.
virus is being passed? And when they revealed that in the comment, I was like, oh, that can't be it then because it's so
Mhm.
early on in the book for them to tell us what's going on. But it literally was. So like she
Right.
had all of the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I kind of like clocked it immediately. Like the first or like the first time they even said like, "Oh, Avery doesn't use computers anymore," and her dad like or like because she used to have a huge passion of computers with her dad, now she doesn't use them anymore. And then the second it said that Shane's computer was destroyed after he was killed, I immediately was like, okay, so it's a computer virus. The haunting is coming through the computer, whatever. Like I think I immediately kind of predicted that, but I didn't know to like what extent that would be like fleshed out. But I do think I automatically wrote down like my prediction was like it's related to the technology, it's coming through the computer, like something's going on with that. And how did you feel about that aspect of it? Like, did you enjoy that part? And like, did you see that coming, or was that something that kind of surprised you?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I did see it coming, but I like it's just different than I keep referencing like, other horror movies have done this before. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking of, like It Follows or Smile. Like we've
Mm-hmm.
seen like this invisible entity, stalking people before, but I've never seen it through a computer. And I
Yeah.
really liked that it fit into the early 2000s vibe with those like creepy emails that we used to send each other, send it to one of your friends or you're going to get killed at midnight. Like,
Yeah.
I really liked the way that it was all mixed into that. It fit the atmosphere of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought this was generally a really original concept as far as combining the computer virus with like cursed object kind of
Mm-hmm.
tropes. It's like two in one kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And finding a way to navigate that was original. I've never seen that done that way before. I'm not particularly into like cursed objects horror or like that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like that doesn't usually draw my interest. But as for what it was, I did have fun with it. But
Mm-hmm.
also like y'all don't remember like so much of this plot had to do with not being able to call somebody because someone's on the internet. And I love that so much because like y'all don't even know like that was a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But and
No, that
at
was
first, when they brought it up, I was like, "Oh, they're not going to get too deep into this." But they did. He did get into it. Like it was part of the plot. Where like, "Oh, nobody can get a hold of me right now because I'm on the World Wide Web." And
The
like,
World Wide Web.
y'all, that was such a thing. Like when I was growing up, my sister was the computer nerd, and so and she was older than me, and so she was always on the computer, and I never learned. I didn't even learn like anything computer stuff until I was like way too old because she hogged it. And
Mm-hmm.
like if someone's hogging the computer, you have no social life, you can't get on the phone, you can't make a phone call. Like that's some real life problems from like late 90s. I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that nostalgia included in this because I feel like that definitely speaks to like an audience who like lived through that time, and like it
For
makes it feel
sure.
more nostalgic and like um yeah, I love that.
yeah, his
What
attention
was
to detail was really good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask too, because I saw, so many people saying that they didn't think that this book was like creepy, or like they didn't think any of it was scary. And like, were there any moments that you found particularly like creepy or scary? Because like I thought like one part that just really freaked me out was the idea of like, like how they said, oh, whatever is in the haunted house is what killed her dad and her sister. And like that was the rumors that were being spread about her. But then when we actually do read the scenes about like what actually happened to her sister and her dad, that actually like freaked me out. Like just the concept of it, because I'm like, that scares me. Like the idea that like her sister, they said she like died of some like rare, like unexplainable weird condition thing, like just that night. Like she had nothing wrong with her, like medically, and then she just suddenly died. And then like the second her dad like got that email in his car, and he's like driving, and he's like, there's a presence with me in the car, like something's happening that he can't explain, and then he crashes. Like those things were so freaky to me. Like that's a kind of horror that just like kind of like, ugh, like I don't like that, and so like those moments were pretty creepy for me. But like, were there any moments like that you were like, oh, like this is actually creepy, like I don't like that?
Yeah, I think the same exact part that you're talking about, where she kind of gets the story for real from the mom. Yeah, chapter 27, the Wallaces. And like maybe it's just because I was also reading at night in the dark, but like it really freaked me out. I was like looking over my shoulder, like this thing is gonna be watching me. I felt like it was coming for me. So yeah, maybe it was just like the right setting to be reading it. But I found that whole, like you said, what happened to the sister, what happened to the dad, it really freaked me out.
Yeah.
I actually like, I get what y'all are like, where you're coming from, but like that I didn't. I'm probably on more of the other side of where like it didn't scare me. Like I didn't, because I didn't. Okay, so like the explanation is that she's putting the virus in, right? And then she puts all these like, she like copies and pastes a bunch of stuff from this like website with like witchcraft and all of that. And then like it like, I don't like that explanation. I don't like how that like explained it. And also, sorry, my daughter just tried on her Halloween costume, and she's showing me. We're gonna have to make some adjustments to that. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries.
My neurodivergence.
What parts scared you, or you were saying nothing did?
So those parts didn't scare me in the moment, but like even just like hearing you guys like reimagine it, it seems scary. So I think that's gonna be one of the. I think those would be moments that would translate really well to cinema, to film, where like you're moving in and you see the thing. Like I definitely could picture it in my head, but I think the scare factor wasn't there, because like in the movies it would be like an M. Night Shyamalan moment where it's like really loud and like really quiet, really, and that would definitely scare me more than the reading of the book.
Yeah.
But as I read it, I wasn't personally scared by this. So I kind of get why people are saying that.
Yeah. I feel like scares are hard to get from books. There's only a few books that have gotten me. Like it's so much easier in movies because you have the inclusion of the music and the sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. So I guess to follow that question is more like, how did you feel about this ending in general? Because like, so I guess to really get into it, like with what happens at the end, for anybody still hanging out that's like, I'm just curious, I want to know, and, like maybe they didn't read it. There's a really cool part at the end of this book where Avery, like the young 13-year-old girl, we find out the reason why this thing exists is because she creates a program to scare her friends, where a ghost appears on the screen and it says you have 30 seconds to find another person or you die, which I personally love that, because it reminds me of those like you got booed, or like those emails that you would send when you're like, a kid, and like the Bloody Mary and like all those kinds of things. But then even if you survived, it would say, oh no, the ghost is still with you. On Halloween, the curse will be broken, but only after a year of fear. So like you're cursed after, you seeing this email thing come up, and then you have this curse until the next Halloween. So after like a year of fear has passed. And so then this girl Avery, like she's making this like harmless, like computer little email thing, and then she like looks up on the dark web these like witchy like witchcraft codes or something, and starts adding in all these witchcraft things into it, and then it just turns into this like thing that she can't control anymore. It's like this demon computer thing, I don't know. And it kind of turns into a virus, and like that's essentially like what created the like the whole thing. So how did you feel about that happening? And like, did you think Avery was the one that was behind it the whole time, or like was that surprising to you, or like how did you feel about that aspect of the ending?
Yeah, it surprised me. I was not thinking that she was the one who created it. I was expecting, somebody sent it to her or she found it online.
Mhm.
I liked it, but I get what you were saying, Elizabeth, and I get what other people are saying, that you really have to suspend your disbelief that, like, oh, she just found all these witchcraft codes and
Right.
got out of hand. I thought it was fun though. Like you said, Gabby, it reminded me a lot of those like messages we used to send each other and like you gotta
Yeah.
pass this on or you're haunted.
Right.
Uh, Yeah, so I wasn't sure, like, by when you say, like, did you like the ending, like the reveal of that? I did not see it coming that it was her, though. In retrospect, I feel like I should have, because she's
Mhm.
like a computer nerd, like, hi. But so I did like that twist. I didn't like the way, like, the explanation of, like I said before, like how these things just came together. But I really loved the ending and
The epilogue.
where, yes,
Yeah.
the epilogue, where everybody then gets infected again, like, and it spreads
Yeah.
so fast throughout everyone. The second I was reading it and they were like, they mentioned the group chat with like 10 people in it, I was like, oh, it's going. I was like,
Yeah.
it's going. It's going out to every single one of those people. I knew it was coming. And I loved that because I just don't like endings that wrap up too pretty, you know? I like
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
of a like last minute zinger. So I did really enjoy that part.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
I would
agree
agree.
completely.
Mm.
Yeah, the epilogue is like one of my favorite aspects of this book, and that's what made me want to like bump it up to the 4 stars instead of like the 3.5 because I was like, like, but it was so interesting because in the epilogue, the present day timeline comes back and like this guy's interviewing her and she's been haunted for like years, like she can never be alone. And then he doesn't believe her. He's like, no, she's full of shit, whatever. And he goes back to the house and like finds the original laptop that like caused all of this, and he goes back to his home to his sister, and they both watch it, and then they both get like cursed, and it's kind of cool. Like I love how they just described it as being like they have this obsessive like need to start spreading it. Like it's like something you can't even control. Like I think that's really fun and like really unique. And yeah, so the ending of this book is just them like obsessively like sending it to every single person that they know. And I thought that was
Yeah.
so good. Like it was so cool.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
could definitely see that happening. Like, I liked that it wasn't just a clean, like, oh, everybody's safe and happy now. Like, of course, this guy would go find it. He's not
Uh,
going to believe all the warnings. He's going to send
Right.
it to everybody.
Yeah.
and like Piper's husband, is this what I think it is? She's like,
Right.
yeah.
Right, like that's just so clever because I agree, like I didn't want this to be like wrapped up in a perfect bow at the end with like, oh, she's like the only one suffering and it's just gonna haunt her for the rest of eternity, which doesn't even make sense in hindsight because like you pointed out, like it should have, like if she knew that laptop existed, she probably should have just did the 1 year thing. But yeah, I also think like because I agree with saying like this horror felt very like unique to me. And when I said that in my vlog, I got a lot of comments that were like, this is actually not unique at all. If you if you read a lot of Reddit threads or if you read a lot of whatever, they were like, this is very common actually with this trope of like technology being the thing that's haunted or whatever. But I've personally never read anything quite like this. So like I do think it was very unique to read. And I think that's part of the reason why I liked it so much was because it did feel unique to me. And I liked the concept of like someone can't be left alone for more than 30 seconds or else it catches up to them. And I think that alone was like a really interesting concept to me. And I had a lot of fun with that element of the book.
That's the real horror. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine?
I know.
I need my alone time.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm like, that's an introvert's nightmare, dude. Like 30 seconds.
I'd die. I'd be dead.
Yeah, like what do you mean? Um yeah, the obsession to spread is conceptually the creepy aspect. I agree. I agree. Yeah, that's funny. It is a long epilogue. You're not wrong. Oh, the author is literally a Redditor. I didn't know.
Oh,
Well,
I think I did.
clearly.
I read that at the end.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, clearly he'd be getting some ideas over there. Um, okay, well then, well, we kind of did talk about how we all love the ending because I said, what did you think could have happened at the ending, or if you weren't like the biggest fan of the ending, what did you, or what would you change about it to improve the ending? But do you have any comments on that? Because I know we all kind of like agreed that the ending was pretty solid. So like, did you see it going in any other direction, or I don't know? Because I don't think I did.
I was kind of hoping it was going to come back around to that, but yeah, I didn't really, I guess, put much thought into like what I thought it was going to happen because I was just kind of in the moment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Same thing. I didn't see it happening like that. I definitely got from the beginning when they mentioned that Piper didn't have a cell phone, like something was going on. She was still going to be haunted. But
Yeah.
my only thing that I wish would have changed is that she wasn't anymore.
Yeah. I know. I think one of my biggest like question marks with the book is why it was called 13 Months Haunted, because I was like, that is so specific. Like, what is up with that? But I actually really liked that explanation for it about how, you're haunted until the next Halloween or whatever. Like, I thought that was kind of a cool thing. And I love whenever books like include Halloween in a really like unique and kind of like fun way. So I thought that was a really cool element of it. But okay, and then one of the more final questions I have for this is, will you read more from this author in the future? If you enjoyed this one, and like, what is something you'd maybe like to see from this author in the future? Like any specific tropes that you think he could do well?
Gosh, I don't know. Well, like I said, I would read from him again. I don't know what kind of tropes I would like to see from him, though. I feel like he could. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Alexis.
It's a tough question.
Take it over, Alexis, because I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, no, I will definitely read from him again. I also don't know about the tropes. He does the 90s and 2000s so well. I think I'd like to see something else, like a more present time period, just to see how he does it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I agree. Like, I would definitely read more from this author because I do really like the way that he writes horror. And I do think it's hard to even figure out like what tropes would I want to see from him, because I do think these are very unique kind of books, and honestly, like kind of like nothing else that I've read before. So I actually do kind of like that he seems to have very like original and unique kind of ideas that I'm not really seeing anywhere else in horror. So it almost like excites me even more to read his future stuff, because I'm like, wow, he's doing some like out of the box like, things. And I feel like he's not afraid to take the risks, because I feel like with an epilogue like this, I do see how that could be a bit of a risky epilogue. Because I feel like people either love it or hate it, but I like that he's like doing that,
Yeah,
I
that's a good
definitely
point.
I get the distinct impression that he is very aware of how he's like adding what he's added into this book. First of all, like it came out in August and he's like, I'm gonna put this Halloween thing in there. But I will say about the Halloween thing though, it felt a little like an afterthought. Like it was like, oh, my book's coming out in August, let me add stuff about Halloween. Like
I can see that. Yeah.
it felt a little bit like an afterthought. But like he also, like the Y2K thing, like that's a spot that like not a lot of people have covered or have like done like thrillers like or horrors in that space. And like the like haunting, but is it a haunting, is it a possession? Like he knows the points that he's hitting. It's gonna hit like a wider demographic because it's like all of these things, all of these like buzzwords,
Right. Yeah.
So he's smart about it, which I respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And then, okay, one of my final questions for this live show is, what, books, movies, TV shows would you recommend if people enjoyed this? Maybe something else that they would love. I know there was already so many popping up in the comment section of people saying it was just like this. It was just like this. So do you have any like books, movies, TV shows that you'd recommend for fans of this book?
I couldn't think. Sorry, Elizabeth, you go.
The main one that kept coming to mind for me is obviously Blair Witch Project, but A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This one, because it's got that like kind of, is it a possession, is it not a possession type of thing, and it's like coming at it from also a different perspective, because we're getting like two points of views, but the current point of view is from the girl who was maybe possessed, maybe not, sister. So it's kind of framed the same way.
Yeah,
and then another one I thought of was Model Home by River Solomon, because it's a haunted house story, but it's kind of not a haunted house story at the same time. Like it's not your average haunted house story. So if you're looking for something that also would be good for like Halloween, spooky season, I think both of these also would fit in well for that too.
Nice.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, those were really great. And yeah, A Head Full of Ghosts is like absolutely perfect. I can't believe I didn't.
Yeah.
The one book that I thought of that I just read recently is Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. So this one is about a virus that the people infected have this like insatiable urge to spread it to other people. So just very similar, not so much on the technology. And then, lots of movies. This is like one of my favorite tropes in horror movies. I've come to realize from reading this, because like thinking of what I could relate it to are like movies I really love. So I already said It Follows, Smile. I saw The Ring mentioned a lot.
Oh,
Really
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
one that not so much about like spreading a curse, but a movie came out either last year or early this year, and it was called Y2K, and it was like a horror movie
Oh,
set on, New Year's Eve 2000, and technology gets a
Oh,
mind of its own and starts killing everybody. And that was
yes.
really fun and just like really similar vibes.
That's
oh
such a
yeah,
good
I'll have to check it
one.
out.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think. Oh my God, I just read Spread Me recently. I don't know why I didn't think of that one. That's perfect. Like that is
Yeah.
such a good one.
I read that
Um,
one too, and yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, like similar concept for sure. Yeah, I think I couldn't think of any like books to compare this to just because like I mentioned, it did feel pretty unique to me. Like I don't think I've read anything quite like this, so I struggled with the books. But I was gonna say like yeah, The Ring, Smile, It Follows. It definitely like kind of felt like it felt similar to those kind of formulas, but in the way that I love. Like that's like one of my favorite things in horror is like the idea of it getting passed on from person to person and it just kind of spirals. Like that's one of my favorite things. So those were going to be my three things that I would compare it to. But I'm seeing even more in the chat. Like Bird Box is interesting. My best friend's Exorcism. Oh yeah, the heavy time period. I would agree. I
Oh
know.
yeah.
Yeah, Ring is a book too. I've not read the book The Ring. Have either of you read it? No.
I
No,
own it, but I haven't read it yet.
I did not know that it was a
Yeah,
book.
I'm also not familiar with Choose to Die. But that one I've been seeing pop up in the comments quite a bit too. Um,
Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch that if it's being compared to all these other ones.
Yeah, so interesting. Also,
Thinking of
Incidents
where.
Around the House is one that I loved. I loved that book so much. Um,
Oh yeah, I like
interesting.
that one too. That
Oh,
makes
that's
sense.
true. Yeah, the compulsion of spread to infect others, Bird Box. That's that. Yeah, okay, I see the connection. I do. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
great. Well, awesome. All right. Well, was there anything else that you had like on your chest that you're like, I can't believe we didn't talk about this yet, and I need to get it off my chest about this book? Like anything that I might have missed before we wrap up?
I did kind of spiral into like the whole Willowbrook thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, I ended up watching a documentary about Willowbrook, which so they
Oh.
brought it up because it was one of the things she was saying was it smelled of filth, it smelled of disease, it smelled of death. And when we found out where that came from, it was from Geraldo Rivera when he did his expose on Willowbrook, which was an institution for I don't remember what they called it at the end, the mentally insane or something, an asylum. It was like
Uh-huh.
one of the first asylums, right? And so he went in there, and I saw the footage. You guys do not look it up. It is so disgusting and terrifying.
Oh
Like
God.
I get it. Like it is so terrifying because I watched that and I was like, oh no. But they would leave people. It's all these people with like really high support needs that need support, and they left them all together alone in a room, unsupervised, just rolling in their own feces and
Ew.
like they said in the book, like it's exactly like that in the documentary. It's disturbing. Do
Oh
not watch
man.
it. But like that was like a really big like moment. Like I definitely sucked in the vibes of that. If anything, that was the most terrifying part of this book for me.
Yeah, damn. Well, that's
Yeah.
But
interesting.
another of the like 90s references that like kind of got to me, which is really what sold me on this. So I'm kind of excited to check out Dead 11 actually, if it's kind of got similar.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say Justin also pointed out too the how like Dead 11 has like the VHS tape and then this has like the CD. So yeah, what would be next? Like maybe he'll go in that direction. I saw Autumn said a cassette or a vinyl. That'd be cool. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
well,
if he did something with a vinyl, like
I was kind of surprised this wasn't a cassette because there was more talk about a cassette because Avery's had her Walkman. So I was feel like
right.
that would have been more appropriate for this.
I think
Right.
so, yeah.
Unless this was, well, no, because it says, yeah, it says audio. I was thinking maybe like a computer software disc or something, but
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
yeah,
the
maybe.
CD makes more sense because, like, at that time, let me give you a little history lesson here. Um, so, like, when Napster was big, right? Like, it was so uncool to have a Walkman. It was so uncool to not have CDs. So, like,
Mhm.
it would have been uncool to like have a cassette. So maybe
Mhm.
that's why because of like the Napster and all of that, maybe that's why they lean towards the CD because it is more apropos of that specific time.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's
I kind of get it.
interesting. Yeah, that would be so cool if he did like a haunted eye powder MP3 player. Like, I'd be so here for that.
Oh my gosh. MP3
Um,
player. Wow. Yeah.
right. Yeah, it could be like when you play that specific vinyl backwards and it says Paula dead. Oh my god, that's a cool idea. Dude, if he did like a vinyl type of thing where like creepy things were coming through the
Oh,
music in the vinyl, that would be so sick. I'd be here for
dude.
that.
Yeah, like set in like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
I
would
that
be
love
would be really creepy.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea. All right, well, I think that just about wraps up our live show. Do you have any like upcoming videos that you want to promote that you're currently working on, or like any recent favorite reads that you want to like shout from the rooftops about, or anything like that before we wrap up?
My only one is Spread Me. This is my favorite book of the month, so I'm happy that
Yes.
I could talk about it and relate it to this. And
Yeah.
then tomorrow I have a new sort of series going up on my channel.
Ooh.
I'm calling it Book versus Movie, where I'm reading a classic horror book, watching
Oh,
the movie,
cool.
comparing them. So my episode
Nice.
tomorrow is on The Exorcist. So I'm
Oh,
excited for
nice.
that, just in time for Halloween.
That's
Oh,
perfect. I love that.
that is perfect. I've been wanting to read The Exorcist for so long, and I have not gotten around to it.
You should.
Uh,
It was very good.
Nice. Okay. Good. I think we have similar tastes, so I'll trust you on that.
Nice.
I have what do I have? Oh, just next month the book club again. We're reading oh gosh, Gabby, what is it called? Bunny?
It's called We Love You,
Love
Bunny.
You Bunny by Mona
Yeah.
Awad. Thank you. Yeah, we love you, Bunny by
Yes.
Mona Awad. If you want to join us, it's at the Midnight Society Book Club on Instagram. And then I've got my most anticipated video out if you want to check that out for October, November, and December new releases that are coming out. So if
Ooh,
you guys are interested in checking out that, that's over on my
nice.
channel at Reading Riley as well.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks for I can't wait for next month. I think it's gonna be I think it'll be a fun time to discuss that one.
Yes.
And then before we head out, I just wanted to remind everybody that Matchmaking for Psychopaths is gonna be our November book troop pick. I'm very excited and very scared to read this one. It's from the same author as Love Letters to a Serial Killer, which is one that I just read earlier this year and I really liked it. And I think this one's gonna be like kind of ridiculous and weird, but like I'm here for it, you know? So hopefully this one ends up going well. But yeah, that is a wrap on this live show. So thank you so much for joining us and reading along with us this month. And thank you so much to Alexis and for Elizabeth for taking the time today and hanging out and for, reading along with me and agreeing to be on this live show. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks so much. Well, I hope you all have a good rest of your night. Have a good Halloween Eve and have a good Halloween tomorrow. And we will see you next time.